Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Scavenger from the original 86 movie. You can see him there in front of the box. Go ahead and put him off the side real quick and take a look at that box. Yes, this is a Studio Series box. It says Transformers Studio Series and Transformers the movie. And hey, Constructicon Scavenger in 15 steps and 4 to 5. And there's Scavenger in both his robot and vehicle modes right there. The Hasbro logo right there, and the Nakatomi up here, and of course there's Transformers and Scavenger up here as well. Up over here, you have, hey, look, there's Devastator right here on this side, and it says 2D and all that stuff. On the other side, hey, it's this extension of what's in front, including, hey, Deluxe Class. On the bottom, of course, what's included in some manufacturing details, and on the back, of course, you have copyrights, warnings, and, of course, a couple product shots and a screen cap from the movie. Scavenger combines with other Constructicons to form Devastator. And, of course, in the box, you also get the instructions, which are pretty straightforward because he's not exactly the most complicated guy to transform. So, Scavenger. The weird one. I've always seen him as the weird one of the group, and I think that's what most people see him as. So, getting close here. A little closer. Yeah, you can see Scavenger's got his weird, kind of, again, got the weird double mouth plate thing going on. He's got his silver chest, which, yeah, look, there's once again the molded detail, which was the connection port at one point. He got all this green, some venting, some tech detailing. He's got his hands, he's got big old beefy arms. Everything, too, he's got his purple, kind of the diaper crotch thing going on, the purple feet, and treads, legs, and feet. Some detailing right here for the vehicle mode. You got a bit of backpack, but thankfully it kind of folds up instead of, unlike the original G1 toy, which kind of did that, which you can still do if you want, but, the G1 toy did that, and, well, now you can fold it up properly, which is nice. So, yeah, you got a bit of backpack, but nothing too egregious, and there you go. Yep, Scavenger still looks a little weird, and that's kind of how he's always been, and it's how he's always shall be. Yeah, I do generally more or less like this guy. He's got his little foibles, to say the least, but he generally looks pretty decent. He's the better of the two, I think. Of the two arm bots, he is definitely the better of the two, for better for worse. Posability, his head, of course, ball joints that you got left and right. Well, I think it's a ball joint, but yeah, it's a ball joint, but of course, unfortunately, it's limited due to shape. But you can go a little down and up because of the hinge it's on, and there's no waggle because, again, how it's shaped. Shoulders all big old ball joints. You can see that. You go, of course, full rotation there. You got outward right there. The elbows are all ball joints as well, so you got, this is your bend at 90 degrees, and of course that's also your swivel. Wrists can't rotate, but they do, can collapse in if you need that for whatever reason. Waist, unfortunately, there is nothing there because of how he transforms. You can see there's just nothing really, you can not really do anything there because of how it transforms. So it's just, nope, no waist. Hips, of course, you got forward pretty much that far. Back, you got that far, quite a bit back. Outward, you have that far, pretty much all the way. You have a thighs rotation as well. Knees is the same thing as Bone Crusher, which you have to unclip them first, and then you go about 90 degrees. And then down here at the feet, of course, you have ankle tilts, which are kind of stiff. You got ankle tilts, which go full 90 degrees there, and then toes and heels can both go down like that. In fact, go down that far as well. So, yeah, his posability is once again like the Bone Crushers, and this kind of came off. That can come off, by the way. I just pegged in. So if you don't want that on there at all, you can just remove it. But yeah, the unfortunate thing is, just like Bone Crusher, and actually pretty much all of them in some capacity of some sort, his posability is a bit compromised. His more so just because, again, no waist. There's no waist. His head is kind of limited because of the shape, and yeah. But of course, he does have his accessory, which is a gun. As you see there, it's got a little magazine clip thing, whatever you got there, and a little scope. All that stuff, and of course you can peg here, like so. There's also a peg hole right there, so if you want to peg it onto something, you can. And of course you could just hold that, no problem, and there's another peg hole right there as well. But yeah, you can hold that, no problem, and there you go. Yeah. Yep. Looks kind of weird. His posability is kind of weird, and yeah, he's just a weird guy. As for some comparisons, of course, the line wide. Here's a Studio Series 86 Optimus, just, the line-wide standard. There. Here's a Combiner, here's the original Combiner Wars version. I say original. Here's the Combiner Wars version, which transforms actually pretty similar. It's weirdly enough. There's some differences, obviously, but, it's kind of weird how similar they are transform to each other. The biggest difference is being the waist piece. But, yeah, even he doesn't have the fully collapsible shovel, so, hey. What's that? Here's my G1 knockoff of Scavenger, who, yeah, the shovel doesn't really fold away really well at all, so, you got that whole thing going on. Yeah, you can see that. If only it could go a little bit back further, but yeah. He's, again, looks kind of weird. This one does not have a proper silver thing. It's black plastic, and a foot just came off. These knockoffs are not long for this world, I feel. I probably should just trash them pretty soon. And of course, here are the rest of the Constructicons so far. Just one away from completion. There's Bone Crushers, Scrapper. Going to pull them out back a little bit further just because, yeah. Hook. Long Haul. Yep, there's the 5 of them so far. And at this point, I have shipping confirmation. Mixmaster's on his way, so it'll be just like another week or so. And I'll have Mixmaster's review up and ready to go. So yeah, don't worry. It's coming. The final Devastator video will be following shortly after that. So there's the group so far. That's Scavenger Robot mode. It's again kind of somewhat compromised particularly for the sake of combined mode. But yeah, so it's not bad looking, but yeah, it definitely has its limitations, unfortunately. So, but yeah, getting him into vehicle mode, pretty straightforward actually. Go for one and get the gun on his hand, put that outside. Yeah, so open up this silver place right here and fold his chest in, close it back up like that. Take his fists and collapse them into the forearms like that, like so. Then back here, what you want to do is untab the little cockpit piece from back here, like that. This is the thing which gets things a little weird. You want to go ahead and bring this out a little bit, just get out of your way, at least for me personally. You want to start folding this back and bringing the arm down. There's like a click point at the shoulder. You want to bring this down right here and fold it back because you're going to have to do that on this side because otherwise, and start folding this around because everything starts banging into each other pretty quickly on this side. You want to go ahead and fold this away all the way down like that. And yeah, make sure, and then go ahead and tab this part in the back. And if your Scavenger is like pretty much everyone else's, this hinge right here is going to get caught and not go in that little notch. There's one way to permanently fix it, which is basically heat that up and then squeeze it together so it retains a new shape. Or as you're pushing it in, just go ahead and kind of push on one side and it should just go in like that. See, it catches, but it does if you push, right, it'll go in. And do the same thing this thing. I just go ahead and pop the arm out of the thing down, put this up, tab that in, almost tab that in, bring this all the way down, and then tab it in right there and back here as well, like that. That'll squared away. Then come down here to the legs and of course fold the feet up on both sides. Fold it up, feed them up, fold them up like that. Then I hear the ball joints. I'll angle them out so they can clear this bit right here, and then bring it in. And there's tabs and slots and everything, so they can just tread can tab in right there. And same thing, bring it up and around, just tabs and slots side like that, and make sure everything's lined up right here. Do what you want with the shovel bit, and there you go. There's a Scavenger in his vehicle mode. Yeah, Scavenger is, well, it's a I don't remember what this is called. It's not a loader. It's a digger. It's a front loader. I don't remember what it's called now. I just had it. Oh well. It's a construction vehicle. It's the one that Scavenger's supposed to be. And yep, it looks like that sort of thing. It's again mostly pretty much a green block with some purple highlighting, including the window. And yeah, there's even a little windshield thing, like windshield wiper picked out right there. Not really picked out, but in detail. But yeah, you got the purple treads. You got some bits of silver right there. Of course, he's got his bucket and everything. Some nice little bits of detailing on there. There's a big old crevice here, but that's where the bucket goes. And yeah, you got the kind of underside, which yeah, very much a solid block pearl with a bit of silver on there. He does not roll. There's no wheels. You can see that, so he just kind of slides around. But yeah, articulation wise, of course, there is this right here. You got this can go forward and back. This can go side to side. There's a hinge right there, and there's actually a hinge right here as well. So you actually got quite a bit of articulation there. You can't rotate right here above the treads, unfortunately. There's no rotation there, so there's that. But the gun can store away if you want. There's a peg hole right there. You can just peg the gun right on like that, and there you go. That's where it stores, essentially. That is official storage position. Yeah. The ball jointed hips can get slightly out of alignment pretty easily, but it's also pretty easy to fix them as well. And this fist came out slightly. Oh, there we go. But yeah, overall, it's pretty solid looking. It's a pretty solid brick thing with a scoop on it, essentially. I guess you could also remove this entirely. But yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty solid brick with a scoop on it. So, yep, there you go. That's what Scavenger's supposed to be, and that's what he is. Yeah, but the transformation, as you saw, the transformation was also very simple. maybe a little too simple, I feel, but like it's one of those things like, what can you really do? It's like one of those things where Scavenger, unless you want to go all out with, like, you know, like say Masterpiece thing, go really all out with like making sure it's, you know, everything, you know, it has all the features and everything. Like, what can you do? There's like only so much you can do to make this, you know, for complication. Eventually you're just adding in complexity for the sake of complexity, and you're kind of at that point, it's like, maybe chill out a bit. It's at that point, it's like, maybe you should just chill a bit, you know? But yeah, it's like, so you got a really simple transformation, but it works. The only thing is complicated is, I would say, well, not really complicated, annoying, just maneuvering like all this stuff into place, because like, you have to like untab this and move the arm and move it, kind of slowly move each bit by bit, because otherwise it's banging the leg stuff or all the leg and hip stuff. So it's a little annoying, but you know, it can be done. Of course, this right here, this is not follow the transformation again. This is just there seems to be like they might be pulling out of the mold too fast, because what's happening is this hinge right here is kind of a little, this plastic's like a little warped or something. So again, it's easy to fix. I haven't done it yet, but you know, just heat and pressure will get that back to shape. And as you saw, you can just squeeze it into place. If you leave it in this mode long enough, I would think theoretically eventually it'll squeeze itself back into the correct shape, but you know, who knows. But yeah, pretty solid overall vehicle mode, but you know, maybe a little lacking in some features, but you know, it looks right at the very least. I'm gonna remove this gun for this next bit, which is of course comparisons. Which yeah, so comparison wise, so here is again Studio Series 86 Optimus. Definitely not in scale, for sure. Here's the Combiner Wars Scavenger, bigger, has a bit more paint right here on the piston, but also this bucket bit does not move. Also a bit more paint in general, but yeah, that's because that's one of the, well, of course he doesn't have the paint on the treads, so that's one of those weird things right there. Also the wrong shade of green, as you can see, so yeah, kind of one of those weird things where it's like, you know, some things were lost, some things were added. Here's again my knockoff G1 Scavenger, who can rotate, although again it's off center, so it looks a little weird, but he can rotate. Is that? And of course here Scavenger with the rest of the Constructicons. So far, and yep, they sure do look like, well, a bunch of construction vehicles in green and purple. I'm getting excited because yeah, Mixmaster's coming, and yeah, once he comes here, yeah, Devastator. So yep, there's that. Of course, yeah. So overall, it's kind of solid. It's an overall kind of solid vehicle mode, but you know, nothing to really write home about. But you know, nothing to really complain too hard about either. Except maybe you can complain about the lack of wheels. But yeah, of course, there's one final mode, which is of course the combined mode, which you know, pretty straightforward on that. Which is yeah, so to get the combined mode, what you want to do is, well, collapse this into that, like, it's supposed to look like this, and you collapse the shovel down like that. So then untab the legs right here, and then right here you want to go ahead and bring this part out. This will undo itself right here. This whole hold pit right here will undo itself completely. I'm going to bring this up. This will kind of move this out of the way a little bit. Then we're going to take this piece right here and fold that down, and then take the treads here and bring them back in, and of course, right here, there's this flap right here. This is the thing I forgot in Bone Crusher. Yeah. Bring this flap down and bring this bit right here up. And then there's these holes right here. These slots, tabs will go into like that. And then, because this is the right arm, this will rotate this way. Yeah. And eventually, yeah, the bits from the hook long haul set will go over top. And I'll show that in the combined mode video. And again, the gun right here for Forge will stay right here for the combined mode as well. And so that's combined mode. And there you can see the hinge for the shoulder and everything, which I will mention is also tighter than Bone Crusher's as well, this hinge. And also for me personally, this works just fine, but I actually like to do it like this, you know, fold this way like that. It kind of gets this out of the way of the elbow stuff a little bit. So yeah, I got this going out. You got a little bit more going out like there, personally. Because yeah, this kind of holds it in place in the sense that, like, you know, it like makes sure that this doesn't move outward, kind of, or you can do that if you're trying to move it outward. Hey, guess what? It'll pop itself off. But yeah, visually, I just like the look of the shovel, the actual bucket of the shovel, kind of folded like that. That's me personally, but that's what I'm going to do when it's so you might see that, you might go, oh, it's wrong. It's like, that's personal preference. That's what I like. So yeah, again, I'm not going to do comparisons here. I'm just going to do the comparisons for the final combined mode video. But yeah, yeah. This is a Scavenger as a whole. Very simple transformation again. And yeah, it's solid. I'll say that I've done some rethink. This is a lot more solid overall than Bone Crusher in the sense that, like, at least that part. This part is a lot better than Bone Crusher's. So, yeah. Overall, pretty solid. Pretty solid, but, you know, very simple as well. So, yeah, but he is a deluxe, you know. That is the smallest size class. Yeah, he's overall pretty solid and everything, but yeah, it's just also a little underwhelming in the sense of, like, his articulation is kind of limited and his transformation is really simple, and but he's solid, and it's one of those weird things where it's like, it feels like, yeah, again, you are buying this for Devastator, and that's what you're buying it for. If you're buying for the individual Constructicons, I feel like more people are going to be disappointed if you say you're buying it for Devastator himself, so I don't know. Again, I'll be kind of talking about that pretty soon, so we'll see how that works out in the end, but I'm looking forward to it. I've been seeing people's pictures of Devastator being completed, so yeah. Well, he's solid, but he's not my favorite. I think so far, actually, my favorite it actually might very well be Long Haul. Weirdly enough. Yeah. So that's Scavenger. Solid, somewhat satisfying, but also somewhat, you know, a little disappointing in some ways. So that's it for this review. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media down in the description and at the end of the video. Check out my coffee and my Patreon. And I'll see you next time with another video review.